Okie dokie. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of Scholarly Sidetracks. On a show made to showcase the wide variety of avenues a person can take after high school, as well as normalize all the speed bumps and detours we take, we have on Andrew Stegen. This will prove to be a delayed success story, as Andrew didn't truly get the gears going until nearly a decade after graduating high school. Andrew's is a story very welcome to the Scholarly Sidetracks world, and I hope that any of you listening out there who may feel like drifters or bums realize your time to shine can come whenever. You just need that inspirational kick in the ass. Hello, everyone. Welcome on into another episode of Scholarly Sidetracks, and today we have on a buddy of mine, Andrew Stegen. How are you doing? I said it wrong.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Stegen. I always don't know why I want to default to like Stegen.
Hey, that's all right. It's the proper Scandinavian pronunciation after all.
And so, Andrew, for those who don't know you,
Very good.
what do you do and what makes you you?
I am a high school economics teacher. And what makes me me? That's a very existential question. That's a lot.
It always messes people up, but I always like to include it in there in case there's something that makes your identity shine because of something you do, something you like. You want people to know about your mustache, literally whatever.
I feel like a lot of teachers overly define themselves within the profession. And so, like, for a lot of teachers, especially young ones and new ones to the profession, like, being a teacher is their identity in their life, and that is a quick path to burnout. So I'm not going to say that that's, like, what makes me me.
All right. I like that. No, that's a good justification.
I mean, I am someone who...
Do you really like cheeses? Do you like choo-choo trains? Do you like to garden?
I
Like,
do like
anything.
I like trains.
Trains are cool.
Yeah, I like trains. Those are cool. I like transit infrastructure and learning about that. I like golf.
Are you any good?
I gardened for a bit after COVID and then kind of fell off with it. So I wouldn't necessarily say I like to garden. I enjoy some DIY stuff, right? Anytime I get to use tools, I'm generally happy. Yeah, I would say that's like
Good little rundown.
yeah,
That's the highlights of you.
and just trying to, yeah, I'm trying to be, I guess, the best person that I can be. I don't know.
Gross, but okay.
I don't know. Yeah, that's that was tacky. Yeah, no, I'm just someone who enjoys his recreation, someone who also does pride himself, I guess, on doing good work.
And speaking of that work, have you, like what they always say with teachers, oh, I knew when I was 5 years old because I had this one teacher and I've been inspired to be a teacher all my life. Has that been a similar story for you, or?
No, not so much. It was not called into the profession, right? Divine intervention from heaven or anything like that. Nothing quite.
Damn.
I know. My mother was a teacher as a second career, and I got into it not late in life, later in life. So I think I got my first teaching gig when I was 30.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
33 now.
Yeah, that's a good way to
So,
describe it. Like,
yeah, I
not
guess,
late, but later than most would assume, I guess, if you're on the general track.
yeah. But I think that's pretty common. Like, if you talk to, like, our baby boomer parents, like, they were all, like, pretty widely, like, most stories are like, yeah, I was a complete and total screw up in my 20s.
And then I decided I should help the next generation not do that.
Yeah, I don't, that's generally what, like, when I talk to, like, people of my parents' age, that's generally the rundown. It's like, they didn't properly get started until the 30s. Maybe that's just like my parents and their close
I don't know. It's kind of a fun narrative
people.
to suddenly think that the whole workforce of teachers, oh yeah, they're all just screw ups, and now they're teachers.
Yeah, there might be some element of truth to that.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually every single one, but that's just a fun thing
No,
to think
no,
that
definitely
somehow
not
they
every
all
single
have
one.
this similar track. I'm like, yeah, I didn't really do good in school, and now I try to make other people do good in school.
I'm in school as penance for my not being
it's
good at it.
it's my punishment now.
Yeah.
So if we go back a little bit to high school, if you're saying that you didn't get into teaching until a little bit later, what was what you were chasing in high school? What was the thing?
Trying to make as much money as possible in some like prestigious institutional track.
That sounds nice and
So
vague.
corporate law, yeah, I know, right? Was something I was looking at. Um, but it was like all very like poorly defined. Like I didn't do any research. I didn't actually know anything about it. I just was like, oh, they probably make a lot of money.
They seem like they're well off and happy.
Yeah, and like they don't have to do as much school as like a doctor. But like I said, it was very like not defined whatsoever, and like it would not have been a good fit. Just the sheer amount of reading that that they have to do. Like they basically just read like legalese the whole time. Like that's their job is just to read stuff that other people don't want to read. And
And you're
so
not
it
much of a
wouldn't
reading
would have
fan.
not been a good fit. Reading's fine in moderation.
Yeah, not that deep dive into the like legalese. That's a great word. I would have not thought of that, but yeah, just the nitty gritty of all the little tiny stuff and the layers and yeah.
I was just nowhere near as disciplined as I should have been as like a student or in terms of my work ethic in high school to like be able to do that in a timely fashion, right? Like law school was not something that I could have hacked. Like I could not hack law school at like the especially at the maturity level I was at when I should have been doing it. So, yeah, dodged a bullet there.
So, were you planning for college or some kind of post high school thing anyway at the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going to college was always like the plan. Like there was a tremendous like there was obviously a very high expectation from my parents that I would get a degree, that I would graduate college. Like there was a that was like the expectation. That was something, that was there. So yeah, college was always the plan for me.
And was that an easy process for doing all the applications and stuff? Like if your parents were saying, "Oh yeah, you're definitely going to college," did they like, "Here you go, here's your application, here's all your stuff"? Did they hand it to you? Were they any help at all, or is it just kind of you doing your thing?
It was kind of me doing it, like, and I wasn't very on the ball with it, so I didn't apply for any university until spring semester of my senior year. So after the new year.
Yeah, that's cutting it to the wire for some timelines.
Yeah, yeah, I basically had locked myself out of anywhere out of state by that point. Um, and so it was only in-state schools. So I applied to the three big universities, NAU, ASU, U of A, and I had very bad grades in high school. D's and C's were kind of my bread and butter, right?
Nice.
I had a hot I had a hot like 2.2 or something GPA, which is very
Hot
bad.
tutu.
Yeah, yeah. So that was not so good. I actually got declined from NAU.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I have the rejection letter framed actually.
I like that shit. They bothered the hell out of me because St. George, Utah at the time was kind of close to NAU, and I swear to God, after I did like my practice, like my PACT or whatever, and I had like a 25, they sent me mailer after mailer after mailer, like please come. And I'm like, what? I'm not even that advanced. What do you want?
They wanted that out-of-state tuition.
I suppose so. Man,
Um,
I can't believe they declined. How rude.
yeah, did you get hit up by like Dixie State?
Oh yeah, like I had.
Are they a four-year school?
They are now, and they were at the time. They were Like when I was in high school, that might have been transitioning because they only had like a couple of 4 years, so they were still technically Dixie College at the time, but then they became Dixie University and now Utah Tech because people didn't like the word Dixie for the reasons you can imagine. And
they're not Dixie State anymore.
yeah, that's the funny thing. If you're in St. George, literally everything around still says Dixie. It's literally just the main campus itself got rid of the word Dixie and they switched to Utah Tech, but the area is still called Dixie. There's the Dixie Rock. They still have anyone still calls it Dixie. No one calls it Utah Tech. Like you say Utah Tech and people are like, are you talking about Dixie's technical college? And we're like, no, we're talking about the university itself. And they're like, oh, okay. I don't know that.
Huh. That's interesting. Do you know where the name came from? Was it like a reference to like the antebellum South, or was it something else?
The Dixie part before?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I always kind of figured it might have been because so much of Utah's mentality is that Salt Lake City is the spot, like that's the main brain. And it annoys the shit out of me because when you go to like Price, Utah, or that area, that's like, if you look at the state, it's very much like in the middle top, like it's in the top half, a little bit south of there. And they call that Southern Utah. It's commonly referred to as Southern Utah. And it's literally a 4-hour drive from St. George. And you're like, how is there 4 more hours of south? And so I'm not sure if they just figured, oh, it's just like the southern lands of the United States as a whole. So we'll call this Dixie because it's not south. This is ultra south. So we're going to call it Dixie. It would just be my guess. I have no idea if there's any other legitimate thing there because it's not like, to put it frankly, it's not like this St. George area is racially diverse, so it's not like they came down here, suddenly saw whatever people might be worried about, and that's like, oh my god, this is Dixie, look at all these other people. No, it's the same Utahns everywhere, so I don't know that it was necessarily racially charged then, but it maybe got to be that later on.
Yeah, I mean, I just so it's it's named after the forest. Oh, the Dixie National Forest.
Oh,
right, because there's a national forest nearby.
I literally have never been there. If you drive around, it never feels like there's a forest, but it could be a desert forest. And I'm just not thinking of that.
Yeah, it's like north of Zion.
Oh, okay. Now that I'm seeing the sign, yeah, okay,
You know,
yeah, I get
Bryan
that.
Head and all that, Cedar Breaks.
And then where did that Dixie come from? How many layers? How many turtles of Dixie are there? So you're rejected from NAU. You're left with U of A and ASU. Was there anything when you were looking at these colleges that made you say, okay, I definitely want this school because of this, or I don't want this school because of this?
Well, yeah, so ASU accepted me, U of A accepted me, and I had one notable friend going to ASU. He was going to Barrett, though, the honors college.
Oh, okay.
And so, like...
And your 2.2 wasn't going to get
you
you there?
I don't know if you're... No, it was not going to get me into Barrett. And, like, I don't know how hip you are to like, the dynamic of Barrett, but it's, like, highly segregated from the normal campus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, it's like, they call it like Barrett the Honors College. Like they don't really.
You don't go to ASU. You go to Barrett.
Yeah, you go to Barrett, and like it's like walled off. Like the dorms are all walled off from the rest of campus. They have their own dining facilities. Like,
ew.
It's basically like this walled garden within ASU.
And is it like, I would assume that makes up for a very pompous people? Maybe the word I'd use.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't go there, so I can't like comment on the dynamic. I mean,
I guess you wouldn't interact with them because they're on the other side of the wall too.
Right. Well, and again, I don't know if like obviously you're not walled off the whole time, right? But like, I mean, I keep in touch with a lot of people that my friend met in those dorms. Like freshman year, I'm still in touch with a lot of those people because I, would go up and visit a lot. And they're all very down to earth people. So like,
oh, that's good.
I don't think it's that.
That's not some
big of a
weird
deal.
machine.
Yeah. But yeah, so he was doing that, and so like we're not gonna see each other much, and I think deep down, like I knew that I still needed the safety net of being in town.
Okay, you went to high school in Tucson?
Like, yeah, yeah, like whether I was aware of that or not, I feel like I needed like the safety net.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I ended up going to U of A in the fall of 2010.
As what major? What did you go in for?
I was undecided.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, which is not what you want to do.
Why not?
They really want you to choose a major quick. They want to onboard you into, like your graduation path as much as possible. I just feel like if you go into college without like a plan, like a clear escape route, like you are doomed. You know? That's
To
how
like
I
not
feel about it.
graduate or
Like,
to take too long? How do you mean by
yeah,
doomed?
yeah, yeah. To either not graduate or be there for like 8 years.
And that's an expensive trip.
Yeah, exactly. That's some really expensive self-discovery. Yeah, I feel like you really need a plan to get out of there, and like you need a clear exit route. Um, so yeah, going in undecided was not the move. Um, but it's kind of like it is a cool thing, and I see it all the time. And like as an educator, like the idea of like 18-year-olds, like, okay, what are you gonna do for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Well, I don't fucking know.
Like yeah, exactly. Like we're entrusting people who are like just barely adults, and in some cases aren't even legally adults yet. Like some graduating seniors aren't even 18 yet. And so just okay, what are you going to do for the rest of your life that's going to give you fulfillment and a stable job prospects, and be able to support yourself and potentially other people and blah blah blah. It's a very cruel thing, but I don't know a better solution.
Yeah, it's always something that's kind of irritated me, and like how you talked about being undecided, undeclared, whatever, and they get all irritated. And I think I had been similar. Like I was an undeclared science major for, I feel like for like a week. It wasn't very long at all because like they want to meet with you like several times and talk with you and be like, okay, so what do you like? What do you want to do? And you're just sitting there like getting bombarded by all these options, and you're like, I don't really know. I don't know. Like they all sound fine. They're like, well, what do you want to do? They go, well, I think I want to be. For me at the time, it was like, oh, I want to be a doctor thing, and they're like, okay, well, here's these ones that work really well. And you're like, okay, which one's better? I don't. This one's the most popular one. I'm like, okay, I'll pick that. It's like you get no time to really flush any ideas out. It's just this sounds cool, right? Do you like it? Cool. Here you go.
Were any of those conversations helpful?
Not really. From what I remember, I think it was one singular advisor the entire time I met with. I remember 2 times for certain within a week that it was just a conversation of, well, what do you like? What do you want to do? And I was kind of set and I wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't even know anything about like med school or what degrees are better for what. Like I was just like, I just want to be a doctor. I don't really care about anything else. And she goes, well, you could be a biologist. And like all the conversations were in science because you at least had to kind of pick a general undeclared. At least I did. And I was undeclared science major. So the advisor was from the College of Science. And she was like, okay, well, biology is popular, but I don't really recommend it. It's a little vague. You have chemistry. That'd be good if you want to go into more research. You have physiology. It's the #1 degree on campus next to business. So that's pretty popular too. And like there wasn't too much that I could go off of in a way because I didn't really, because it's the first day really of freshman year and I'm not really thinking past 4 years. Like I don't even really know what's going to be better for med school. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing here right now at this school. So I don't know how the conversation could have gone better beyond if they instead had like maybe an exploratory, like if they broke it up into like science, humanities, arts, that'd be fine. I'd understand that. But like an exploratory science class where The 15 weeks is maybe doing a little bit of a deep dive into like the college, or yeah, like that college's degrees and what they generally do. Like, oh, this is a biology major. They learn these kinds of things. They can have this kind of emphasis, and generally these are the kind of the jobs that they get. Or if you're going to be in physiology, geology, astronomy, these are kind of the things. And having some advisor person likely teach it so that people can be like, well, what if I want to be, because I went to school with someone who wanted this and it was really cool. What if I wanted to be a doctor specifically for like astronauts to work on like the physiology of people in zero gravity? And it'd be good to have someone there be like, I don't know, maybe space science and then go to medical school. And you're like, well, how does that make sense? And if they're up there, like if it's just a biology teacher up there, they may not know. You know, it's not their fault. Like they're not going to know, well, you want to be a space doctor, essentially? You go, yeah, like there's plenty of astronauts and they will have different physiology. I want to know how to be a doctor for it. I don't know. And in the end, what this person did at least was they got an astronomy degree and then took some health related classes, and then they went and got their, I think they ended up going into medical school. I haven't checked on them what their progress is, but they did like an astronomy degree, and then they made it to where they can go to med school and stuff. And having it to where you can make it however you want, it'd be cool to give students a chance to at least know what the options are instead of just reading a catalog and just looking at the word. Because you might read biology and go, well, that's dumb. Or history and be like, well, that's boring. But then if you find out what you can do with those things, you might be, oh, no, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I could do history or economics. That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think colleges are doing more in terms of showing what those career paths are. Like there's a lot more, because what is it? What's like the stat? You might know it in terms of like people who actually do something relevant to the degree they got in university.
Oh, I'd like to
It's
know
like
that number.
30%, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very small. It's like it's under half. Like most people, I don't know what the actual stat is, but just in my own conversations with people, I personally know like three, and they were all like medical related, so they're kind of shoehorned into what they were going to do. But most people, they had zero idea, or they did a complete change just because the degree turned out to be different than they thought, or more likely the career field was a lot different than they expected and had to change out of necessity, really. So how long were you an undeclared or undecided degree?
I don't know if I can remember specific timetables. Definitely like a long time. I think I eventually, like it was a few months, might have even been like 1 or 2 semesters, and then I think for whatever like dodo-brained reason, I think I picked like English,
Okay.
and I'll be honest, I had no plan. Like I literally had no idea what I was thinking.
Uh, that's what you mean by dodo. I'm like,
Um,
English is dodo or just dodo for you?
yeah, I just had no plan, and like I mean, realistically, like the career options for English are kind of like teaching, like realistically speaking.
Yeah, for a lot of choices.
But I mean, I got a yeah. I mean, I got a degree that like the terminal. I mean, I got a degree where the terminal career outcome is teaching with history. So at the end of the day, so there are some degrees where that's like the career terminus, right? If you want to do something within that degree, like that is teaching, like, and you could potentially teach college, but there's so few tenure track jobs available for PhDs. Like it is extremely cutthroat. When you look at how many PhDs graduate every year versus how many jobs are actually available for those PhDs, like it is not balanced. And so there's a huge surplus in the labor market for PhDs. So a lot of those jobs, really, high school teaching is like the end game for a lot of those degrees.
Well, that is the funny thing that I don't think everyone really keeps in mind because, if you look at, even if you just go at like, if you separate it to each school, like each college, and go, okay, let's say it's a PhD in history. How many of those are we going to have? And then you just look at literally, like, let's say it's U of A. Well, how many professors of history do we even need? And if it's anywhere skewed to where it's like, oh, well, we only need, let's say, 5 professors of history, and you have 10 graduates, you already have 5 people screwed over, and that's in one graduating year. And they're not going to just like, oh, we're going to have a professor work for 1 year, kick them out, get a new one. They're going to stay there for theoretically 5, 10, 20 something years. And you just keep stacking up these PhD folk that don't have anywhere to go because they want to go to university level, but there's only so many slots of, in this case, history teaching. And it's not usually a high turnover thing, depending on the politics of the world. But generally, you don't pop in and then pop out. It's not usually 5 or less. It's 10, 20.
Yeah, I mean, I'm under the impression that if someone lands a tenure track job, like they cling to that thing with all of their life force, all of their energy, and do
so
everything they can to, yeah, do everything they can to not give that up. I don't know. You probably have to go to places like to get started, like Dixie State, right? To get your foot in the door.
Yeah, some of the smaller ones.
And then ideally you try to work your way up once you have experience. But the idea that you can graduate a PhD program and immediately get hired at like a land grant university.
Good luck.
I don't know about that unless you're graduating from like the Ivies or something.
Yeah, I suppose you'd have to do some kind of. I don't want to say downgrade because people are going to think that if it's not Harvard, it's garbage. It's not like that, but in some sense that, like, if U of A is not the same as ASU and that's not the same as Berkeley, that's not the same as Harvard, like however you want to interpret it, that there would be, even if it's just size, that can be a lot of it. Like if you go from ASU to U of A, that might be more possible just because it's a huge ass school in Phoenix, Tempe, whatever, and you're going down to half the size. It's still 45,000 students, but it is about half the size, and maybe that's easier because, oh, you got your degree at a big school and really big name and blah blah blah. We'll take you compared to someone from Utah Tech that's tiny, and they might think, oh, well, you only had to teach like 10 students. That's not going to prepare you enough for U of A. So you're too small to come up to here. Whatever crap. I realized that you graduated with a history degree.
Yes, correct.
And I might need to be enlightened, but if you didn't want to go into law because of all the reading, I feel like history is a shit ton of reading.
That is true. That's correct. I got a degree in reading and writing, basically.
Okay, I just had to make sure. I'm like, so did we get over the reading thing, or is that why we don't like reading now? It's because you did too much of it in your undergrad.
No, yeah, I mean, I think I more or less got over the reading thing, like, more or less. I mean, I did it. I was able to graduate, right?
I think that's true.
Let's see. I got into U of A. I did like English, I think, which again is just more reading. No game plan whatsoever. But
Right.
I think the English thing was still a ploy to prepare me for law school. Because I think I overheard one person who did law was like, I wish I was an English major. That would have prepared me better. So I think it was still like this vague expectation or this kind of ramshackle idea of eventually pivoting into law. I just was not like mature enough to be a college student, which is a crazy thing to say, but true.
No, I mean, it makes sense.
At that point to like do well, I guess, as a college student. Like I did not have the maturity to do it. And then like, it's crazy once you realize that you can just not go to class.
That opens up a world of uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like a whole thing, right? You can just not show up and you don't get like in trouble and like nothing happens. Well, stuff happens, right? But it's not immediate. It's very delayed.
Right.
That's crazy. And so I was not prepared for that. And so, yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't do anything. There'd be like huge, like semester defining like papers, and I just would not do them because I didn't feel like it. So I was just very lazy. Didn't want to actually do any work, which I think was a bad habit I picked up in high school, where I wouldn't do any of the work there either. But like in high school, it's possible for you to pass and not do any of the work.
Yeah, you could still get by and get what you need anyway.
But that's not really so much how it is in college. And like I had no concept of how to study. I had no concept of how to take notes. Basically any like academic skills, I had essentially none of those.
way you phrase things.
like academic utility skills, like reading comprehension, like I had that, and all, yada yada yada. But like in terms of like academic utility skills, I did not have any of those. Um,
Yeah, it's like important to say that you're not dumb. Like anyone who's listening to this, oh, Andrew's dumb. No, it's not necessarily. Is your brain unable to take in and understand what's being said? It's more finding the way to do the little bit of work to maybe read it a little bit differently, or to quiz yourself, or to be with other people and get it out and about and trying to digest it instead of having it like instead of just having it be in your head for a day or a week, to like actually make it something that you learned. It's not that you're dumb, that's that you just haven't internalized everything.
yeah, and I was always like pretty good at rote memorization. So that's like what would get me through high school is like I had very strong rote memorization. And all of our assessments were just multiple choice
That's true.
things. And so I was very good at the tests most of the time, except for like math. If I could like understand the formula, obviously I'd be fine. Like the procedure, I would be perfectly fine. But stuff like history, I would crush all of like my history tests.
Yeah.
Because at that point, like history instruction in the secondary classroom was like mostly rote memorization based. So very like names, dates kind of deal. Um, and so I was very good at that. So I was able to get by mostly based on like tests. Um, most of the time, I go to U of A and then kind of just like stop going to classes. Don't really have a plan. Am not mature enough, not prepared enough, and so I flunked out. I was put on academic probation like almost immediately. Pretty much pretty much like the soonest that you could be, I was that flunked out, and then um, didn't really know what to do. Kind of did community college for a long time. Again, had like no game plan there, right? I thought maybe I would want to do like be a band director or whatnot because like in high school I did marching band and band in general and really enjoyed it. I started in middle school and enjoyed it very much. I was always a terrible player because I wouldn't practice. So I was not like a good musician. But I really enjoyed band. And so I did that, and then I did the college band at U of A, Pride of Arizona, and that was good. I loved it, right? Loved it. It was phenomenal. So much so that after I flunked out, I did one of the reasons enrolled in Pima is so that I could continue to be in the U of A band because they had like something where you could do that.
Nice.
So I did that. I played trombone there, and that was good. And then eventually did drum and bugle corps, Drum Corps International. Did that kind of at the tail end of the band stuff, and so I thought maybe that could be like an avenue to be a band director. But again, I didn't really like practice, and I wasn't a good musician, so that was never actually going to be a realistic outcome.
And just for keeping the timeline straight in my head, how far did you get with the U of A before you got flunked out? Like, were you a sophomore or something? Did you even make it a year?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was some point during sophomore year. I don't specifically remember if it was first or second semester.
So you're at the community college, you're kind of thinking about the drum corps thing. What, well, I guess what's next? What happened? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so I took some music classes. I did what was it? Two seasons of drum and bugle corps, which is like for listeners who may not know what that is, it's like essentially marching band but like highly competitive. And it's only during the summer. None of them are affiliated with any like universities or schools. They're all like nonprofit performing arts organizations.
Okay.
But they compete with each other in like a circuit called Drum Corps International. It's only over the summer because a lot of people are like college students, and so it's over the summer, and you just do incredibly competitive marching band, for lack of a better word. There's no woodwinds, so it's only brass instruments. And so when I did it, it was only valved brass instruments, and they later opened the rules up so that you could have non-bugle instruments. So
Weird. There was
yeah,
no
I did that for
trombones.
2 years. No, no. My first year there was no trombones. My second year they allowed trombones. There was like a big rule change my second year doing it, and so I played tuba there, which was cool. Um,
Hell yeah.
and that yeah, that was actually that was a good like kind of maturing or like growing up kind of thing for me that actually ended up being really useful because like it was hard work, which sounds crazy like doing band, but it was very hard work. We would, let's see, spring training or move-ins, spring training, whatever. Um, you call it. It was the first month. It was usually like late May to late June. And then you would go on tour, but so the spring training phase of drum corps, you um, move in with the group. A lot of groups will like host you at a high school, and then you'll like rotate around different high schools in the area and just use their fields and like their facilities. But basically, like you sleep in a gym with everyone else in the same room. You used like the locker room showers, and then you go out to the field and practice. So the first group I was with is based out of Tempe called the Academy Drum and Bugle Corps. And they didn't house us for move-ins, which meant that we were all scattered and had to commute to this place, Tempe Sports Complex, to rehearse. And our rehearsals were started at 8 a.m. and ended at 10 p.m.
Holy shit.
And that was 6 days a week. We got Sundays off.
Is this outdoors in
And we
Tempe in
had
the summer?
longer than, yes. Yeah. It was, so it was legitimately hard work. I drank 3 gallons of water a day. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And so like that was tough living. And so, and that was for 6 weeks. So that was like a lot. But that was, I think, and then we went on like tour. And so you're on a bus, like a bunch of like, buses, and then you go around the country and whatnot. So yeah, we did a big tour, ended up in Indianapolis for championships. And then I went with a different group, this time in Pennsylvania, called the Cadets Drum and Bugle Corps. They're no longer around anymore. They folded, which is sad because they started in 1934. They recently folded. Um, but that was different. We didn't get Sundays off, but we only went 8 to 8, and we were housed in dorms, which was nice at like a university. That was good. Um, and that year that I did it in 2014, we placed third, which was cool. But that was a good like maturing thing, and I really loved like band, specifically marching band, right? And so I thought maybe I would do drum and or not drum and bugle corps. I thought that I would do band directing, and then I wasn't like I said, I wasn't a good enough musician, but I was like pretty good at the marching stuff. And so what I did with that was I would um, be like I guess an assistant coach, if you will, at like high school programs around in Tucson. So that was kind of the big thing, like I guess like the next progression, and that's really what kind of like geared me up towards being an educator was that dynamic.
And you didn't have to worry, like, we wish you had like a music degree or whatever stuff. Like, your experience doing the drum corps and stuff like that was good to show that you can show what you're talking, you know what you're talking about more or less.
Hmm. Yeah, that was ample. I had a friend who I marched in 2013 at the academy with, who was a drum instructor in town. And so I kind of just linked up with him. And for a while, we were a package deal. And then eventually, he student taught at a high school in town. And so I went with him to do their program. And that was spring of 2016.
And it was
And
paid.
so we had taught at, yeah, it was paid. And we had taught at another high school before that. So it was very different. Like the first place that we worked at, because somebody got a band director job there, and this is a Title One school with like band director turnover all the time. Like they're perpetually getting new band directors, and so somebody who was more or less the assistant director where we went to high school became the director at this school, and so we went to go help out there, and that wasn't paid, and so like we did, I just kind of did like sort of dead end retail jobs. The most notable one was working at a gun store during that time.
Nice. Let's not make too many jokes
Uh,
about dead end at a gun
so
shop.
right, dead end. Yeah, there we go. That one set itself up. So I was doing that as I was like teaching, which is sort of a cruel dynamic, I guess. But yeah, at that Title One school, it's a different world out there, man. Like attendance is very not good for like band rehearsal. Like a good day for us, a good rehearsal will be like 75% attendance. And so it's very difficult to have like an actual like good program with that. But we were there, and at that like level, like at that specific place, it's not so much about being super competitive. Like you want to be as good as you possibly can be because you want to you, like you want to give the students the experience of like being good at something and working together towards a goal and learning like how to work hard, right, and whatnot, and be focused mentally on something. Like those are all, I think, very strong benefits of anyone doing marching band. But really, the main goal with a program like that is to give them something to do after school, where they're supervised.
Yeah, there you go.
Really, I mean that's the main goal of a program like that. And so that was, let's see, I was there for 2 years. That was like right after doing drum and bugle corps, while still doing kind of like Pima stuff. Very different from where my friend got a student teaching job gig eventually, which I followed him to, which was at like a suburban school up in the north in Oro Valley. So definitely not a Title One school. And I was there sort of as the person in charge of the visual program for, well, let's see, spring of 2016, and this is my first marching band season right now of me not doing it. So I think for like 8 years I was there.
It's a good little while.
Yeah, yeah, running the visual program, the marching and all that. And eventually the band director there retired, and then my friend became the band director there. Sort of replaced him. It was kind of throughout that, like through the teaching there, that I learned how awesome education can be, you know, and how rewarding of a profession it is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I learned that like the high school age group is probably the age group that I gelled the most with and kind of made the most sense. So that really kind of unlocked like that I guess desire to be like an educator, someone who, because it was like I remember it really clicked for me after my fourth year there, because I have these kids who are like freshmen, right?
Yeah.
My first year there, they're like these freshmen. They're very like small and timid and extremely bad at band. And then like seeing them when they're seniors, and like some of them were like legitimate Chads, like as much as like a band kid can be a Chad.
Yeah.
And just watching them be like very confident and very capable was extremely rewarding for me. And some of those, let's see, one of those guys from like my first like freshman graduating class doing instructing, like band teaching. Went to go do drum and bugle corps with a very good group, and then eventually was over our teaching career. I think my friend and I, we had one kid who ended up being a world champion in drum and
No
bugle
shit.
corps, and then another student who ended up being a world champion for indoor percussion, which is like happens during the spring semester. It's just drumline, but it's like a similar idea, basically, in terms of like rigor. And he ended up being a world champion for indoor. So we've, I think we produced two world champions, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool to have just for yourself to know that you're doing some good work.
Yeah, because it's very rewarding, like when you see them be so much better than you ever could be.
That's a way to put it, yeah.
That's like the true joy of teaching, you know? That's the true joy of being a teacher is like seeing students that are are just gonna be so much better than you ever could hope to be. That is just that's the chef's kiss right there. So seeing that was very rewarding, and then I had matured a lot, and so then I actually had a plan. Like I realized, okay, history was my first love, and that was born from hearing grandpa's war stories. And then yeah, there's some legit primary source accounts there. Hearing grandpa's war stories, fighting the Germans, and then playing video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rome Total War was a game changer. That like history was my first love, right? And I had a very like not mature understanding of what history actually was, but I loved it, right? And so I went into what is it? I changed it up at Pima Community College, and went towards the history focus, and then I just like dug down and I actually did it. So I got my associates from Pima. When did I get that? It was like I want to say it was like spring of 19. And then fall of 19, I went back to U of A. And so my associates was like history something. So fall of 19, I went back to U of A. They have this thing called the Second Start program, which is super overpowered. It's broken. I'm gonna seriously, dude, I'm gonna tell you how freaking broken this thing is. But yeah, it lets you basically go back to the U of A after you flunked out. Because their graduation rate is like 65%, like their 4-year graduation rate. It's pretty low, and that's like normal for most like state schools around the country. So I did this Second Start program, and basically what it does is you have to have been out of U of A for like 2 years or something when you go back, and basically it just resets your GPA.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like I said, it's broken, dude. And so I had still a very like not good GPA at Pima because I still, sort of a same shit, different day kind of approach, especially when I was doing the music stuff. You know, just like not going to class, typical lazy bumpkin stuff. But I flipped the switch with the history business, and then I wasn't going to Pima like the whole time. Eventually, I kind of when did I stop going? When did I just say, okay, this isn't working? I think it was like might have been like 15. So I stopped with that and then did the band teaching and the odd jobs, the dead end retail, and then went back into Pima. I think it was like 18 or something. And I was actually legit. I had focus, right? And the most important thing is I had an actual exit strategy.
Yeah, an end goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an actual exit strategy, and so I got into U of A again with the Second Start program. So my GPA is refreshed, and then I transferred all those credits over from Pima. And the cool thing about community college is the grade you get doesn't matter in the class because it just shows up on your transcript as T.
That's funny.
For transfer. Yeah, so like the grade you get in community college doesn't actually matter. Like all it needs is to be good enough to get you to transfer to the 4-year university, but On your university transcript, it just shows up as T.
That is
So
a
I
wild
go
out
in with a
combo.
refresh GPA. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's something else. So I start at 0 with my GPA. All my like not good PIMA grades are a T. I will say though, my history classes at PIMA I got A's in, except for one U.S. history class that I got a B in. I wasn't really feeling that professor, but so those are all T basically. And then what was it? I graduated in December of 2020, so I did 3 semesters at U of A, and basically just like had a clear strategy for what I was going to do to get my history degree. Because my grade refreshed and all those transfer credits were T's, I ended up graduating with a 4.0 from U of A.
Holy shit.
Like I said, it was broken, dude. That second start program, totally broken. But yeah, I don't know. I was a changed man, Bryce. I was a changed man. And
Damn,
I think
that's
that's because
cool.
I had like never been good at school before, so I wanted to be good at school. And like it's crazy. Like if you just do everything they ask you to do and try, like it's like you will get good grades.
I like
Like
that.
no
If
missing
you do the thing.
assignments. Yeah, no missing assignments and you try on every single one, like you will get good grades. So, yeah, graduated with a 4.0 from U of A, and then at that point like I knew that like teaching was the end game. So, I got a degree in history only because U of A doesn't do secondary education as a 4-year degree anymore. That's only primary education. Yeah, so the way U of A does it is they have a master's program that's 1 year, and then you get a master's of education.
That sounds way
So the
better.
idea is you're a specialist in whatever your content field is because you get a bachelor's in it, and then you get the master's of ed, which like I don't know what kind of black voodoo magic happens for like a year-long program to get a master's of ed and you've only ever student taught but it was basically year round. So like online classes during the summer, and then you student taught for a whole year. So I graduated with my bachelor's in December 2020, and then I do this program in summer of 2021, and I was a substitute teacher between just to get classroom experience. And so I started. I got my first substituting gig when the schools opened up after COVID, and there was a chemistry teacher who quit, and so I was like the long-term sub for chemistry, which
Nice.
I got a D in high school, and basically took no college classes in. But it was there was another teacher on site who basically would record lectures, and then I would play those lectures. Yeah, so like they had an absolutely dreadful educational experience. But it was like a hybrid back, so like half the day, so it would be half the students every other day, and it was like full mask and all that. So I did that until they brought a new teacher in, thank God, and those kids could actually get like a proper education. And then I just substituted in that district after that, and then got into this program, student taught at the same site that I did the band teaching at, which was cool because I had made like inroads with admin and whatnot my time coaching band there. So I got placed there and I student taught there with a teacher who was my AP US history teacher when I went to high school. She transferred to a different school. That was kind of a cool thing for both of us, really. Did that, student taught for a year, all the classes, learned a lot, but you never learn enough when you're student teaching. And then I wanted to get hired at that same school. They didn't have any openings. But yeah, I eventually graduated right with the Master's of Ed, and then found a place in a different district, but nearby where I live. And there's a job opening there originally. I didn't go for it. And then another one popped up as like the market was looking pretty thin. So I applied for that and I got hired pretty quickly for that gig. And then I've been there ever since. First teaching job, still there.
Oh, it was the economics gig thing. Is what you got now? Is that?
No, it wasn't econ. It was just history.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I guess there's one final pivot. So yeah, it was just history. And then And then the guy who did mainly econ retired. And so I was asked if I would be interested in filling that. And I reluctantly said yes. And it was a good choice. I'm happy that I made that decision. And so now I teach exclusively economics. To get certified by the state to teach economics, I read a AP economics test prep book. And then I went in and yeah, you just go in and take a test on like a computer. I actually did it at Pima Community College because that's one of those Pearson test sites. So that was a nice little full circle moment. Yep. And so now I teach econ.
Well, damn, that's quite the journey to get from where we started in high school to today.
Yeah, I guess so. It was a lot of me spinning my wheels.
Yeah, but then once you hit the ground, like once you like changed your basically your mindset, whatever it sounded like, for once you decided to go back for history and everything, like it you cranked it.
Yeah, that was, I don't know what I was eating during that time, but like it was
firepower.
Yeah, it was mostly eggs. My COVID diet was like exclusively eggs. I would eat 3 egg omelet a day, and that's it.
That's the secret, folks. Just write that down.
Yeah. So that was changed up big time.
Good deal. Well, then, to make sure I hit the 2 big things, I think I'm changing the way I asked this first one to be. Normally, I phrase it as you're allowed a redo in your life, but I never really love that because you don't get to redo. So I'm going to call it more like, do you have any critical points that you would like to bring up, in the sense that, let's say there's someone listening who is at the same critical point as you're going to talk about. Like, let's say it's in high school and it's deciding whether to go to U of A or not going to college at all. I'm in band corps and I decided to go back for history. Whatever, 1 or 2 couple things that you're like, oh, if I was at this position, I would do something different, or I definitely would have made sure I still did this if I were to have a redo, sort of thing. Is there anything in your life that you would tell someone else at the same point, hey, you should do this or you should not? Still working on the wording on that, obviously.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, yeah, the inflection point. What do you do?
Yeah, I like that.
At those critical decisions, man. I think my most critical decision has to be graduating high school, right? And that like point of time. I can't say this with authority because I never did it, but I feel like for people in my situation where they don't really know what they want to do, I feel like doing 4 years in like the armed forces is potentially like slept on.
Okay, I wasn't expecting
in terms
that
of its viability. In terms of its viability, because like because one, you take the ASVAB, which is like, yes, it is a standardized test, and there's a whole bunch of like issues with that, but the ASVAB is generally a good tool for determining what you're good at and giving you like career options.
Okay, yeah.
That you would be like capable at, because it's basically like it's the assessment that the armed forces use to determine what sort of jobs you're capable of doing in the military. And like for every military job, like there's basically like a civilian counterpart, more or less. Except maybe being like
a sniper.
Yeah, like obviously there are some things, but like if you're talking like logistical support, like frontline support jobs, something other than like 11 Bravo, which is the infantry thing, there's a lot of like good civilian counterparts. So I feel like I would have been better served like joining up and getting like that maturity and like getting paid to learn a skill, right? Because if you do something support wise, like you can get like you learn, like they have to teach you how to do the job that they want you to do, and like you're still getting paid during that time.
How many people get to say that?
Right, exactly. And so, and plus like there's GI Bill and stuff, and like there are a lot of perks. But again, it's not something I could wholeheartedly say like do this, because I never did it, right? So I don't know what it is fully like. And I know a lot of people, like I have friends who were in the forces, and some like did not like it, and some absolutely loved it. So I can't say like for certainty like do that, but I do feel like I probably would have been better served had I done that. Like I would have been more. I
College
just
able
probably would
later.
have been a more like mature person during that time. Yeah, and it's not necessarily even about being like fully like college able, but like I would have been, it would have like on the path to like self-sufficient like adulthood that would have, accelerated things significantly.
Yeah, that's to do anything. That's one thing it'll do.
So, yeah, that was kind of out of left field, but I do feel like a lot of like high school grads who don't really know what they're doing, I think they kind of sleep on joining. And it was something I kind of considered, but like I'm an only child, and so my parents were not exactly keen about that.
Yeah. I understand though the uh I guess sentiment for lack of words of knowing that there's other options or, not just going to college to figure things out. And it's a different story that like maybe you have a full ride or a really cheap tuition either because it's community college, you did well in high school, so it's maybe not a big deal to go putz around at your college for a little while. But for those that, even me, like I might have done well in high school, but still spending, 14,000 a semester, that's a very expensive trip. And if you don't
Hmm.
know what you want to
It is.
do, you could, I mean, yeah, everyone wants to talk about like, oh, I had my dead end job. Like I worked at Target, I worked at IKEA. And yeah, maybe you don't necessarily learn everything about yourself, but you can learn more things. Like you might find out that, oh, I actually really like customer service, or I really hate it. Or, I could see myself going through the ranks of manager work here, or I don't want to be in retail at all. Like every little extra thing you find out is helpful. It's not like you're
Hmm.
just having your brain turned off just because you go do these other things and you're not actively in college. Like if you don't know what you're doing, it's all kind of sixes. Like you're either you're pitzing around at Target, we'll say, or you're pitzing around in your gen ed classes, and you're really not adding anything. So is it easier for you to spend money while doing it or make money while doing it? That's up to you.
Yeah, yeah. There's cheaper ways to discover yourself
Yeah, and I
than
think
doing
so
it at
many
a
people get,
four-year university.
yeah, and a lot of people get worried, I get, for, the gap year and getting out of rhythm of learning. Like, oh, I'm not sure that I'm ever going to be able to
Hmm.
learn again if I don't know how to do it. But I don't know if that's necessarily something to worry about because everyone who's gone from high school to college, it's a different ball game. Like it's whatever habits you have in high school, who fucking cares? Like unless you're really good, that might carry over. But 9 times out of 10, you're gonna change a good deal of what you're doing. And on the other side of it is, let's say you do forget all that stuff. A lot of people I've known who've taken classes at an older, I'll say older, and like 22. It's like older. Like if you go back to school or start school at 22, you're old. You're not. But some people think that way because, you're not fresh at 18. You're not doing the normal thing, whatever. But you find that whether it's confidence in your own ability to like adult stuff, like you're not worried about food and laundry or living, you have that stuff covered, or more of what you understand well, like, oh, I'm going to be taking some math classes. I already know that I kind of suck. I'm going to put some more work here. I rock at these history classes, so I won't have to put as much time here, but I'll still make sure I dedicate time, whatever. You get just better at, I just call it existing, really. Like for anyone who goes back to college later or people who go through college regularly, you find like your junior and senior year, you're probably doing a little bit better. And if you could have started college then the whole experience would have been better. So I don't think you need to worry too much, anyone who's listening, about like, oh, maybe that gap year just really breaks it for me. And if it does, oh well, like, so you didn't go to college. That doesn't always matter. It depends on the career line, but most time it's not break it all.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we can get into a whole thing about like the overpromising of what a college education can
Yeah.
do for you. Like that's like a whole thing. So I don't think we necessarily have to broach that topic, but there are legitimate questions about like its utility, and I think it's like a good decision. Like I'm very happy, that I graduated college and that I had that experience. And I'm happy with where I am now, but
Yeah, that's it. We don't have to
rivers
elaborate.
of ink have been spilled about the about the utility of the 4-year degree in our current day.
Yeah, if go into it's just like anything. Some things will work great, some things won't. Like even just talking about the forces, the military, like some of the translational things. Maybe you do end up being more of a heavy combat type, and then you come back to the civilian world, and you're screwed. Like maybe you just didn't learn anything there, or you can't manage civilian. Like there's nothing that's going to be perfect every single time for everyone. So just look at everything as an option.
There's plenty of guys and gals who come back and they just can't adjust. So that's why I said I can't. It's maybe not something I can properly speak to because I didn't do it right, but
still something to think about. So that's good. And then for the second thing is I make sure that every single guest has 30 seconds, 30 minutes of unfettered time to where I'm not going to prompt you in any sort of way beyond you're allowed to be funny, inspirational, whatever. Tell everyone thank you for coming, goodbye. In case there is any part of your story you wish you told but we didn't, or whatever, if there's anything else you'd like to say for this episode, what would it be? Here you go.
I would just say thank you for your time. Glad to be on and invited as a guest and kind of talk about my specific pathway. Yeah, I don't have much to plug, so
that's fine. It's so nice that you thanked me. So that's my favorite one yet. No one ever talks about me. I'm just the host on the side, just hanging out. I'm not particularly inspirational. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and it was nice being able to talk about this stuff, and I enjoyed it. Good, so did I. And you never know, like everyone wants to think that. Well, a lot of people, I don't say everyone, a lot of people don't find their story to be all too inspirational, but in the fact that it happened, you never know that someone listening might be in a similar, we'll call it a veritable zero to hero sort of thing, to where maybe you didn't do super well in school at first, but you know how you said the wheels were spinning, but once you hit the ground, and then it just totally rocked. Like it's not always just a matter of your character. Like everyone gets to worry so much about the grades to find the person, and maybe they do for a time, but it doesn't have to forever. If you want to change, you obviously can change.
Just do the second start program.
Yeah, do that. That definitely helps with that refresh.
Yeah, do it before they patch that, because it's pretty powerful at the moment.
Hope they don't fix that.
Yeah, I sure hope they don't fix that, because I want other people to have that same opportunity. Yeah, I guess I would just say that the first time we did the intro, I think was a lot better. Yeah,
it drives me nuts every single time. I've had 3 problems with the recording thing like that, whatever. And anyone that's listening, I'm gonna keep this part in. If you're wanting to do podcasts or video recording, it might maybe for a video. Let's just stick with audio. I'll stay in my wheelhouse here. The first time is the best time. I don't care about preparation and blah, blah, blah. Authenticity helps, and everyone hates to repeat themselves when we have to, we had to do the intro here, and you feel awkward being like, well, I already said that, but they didn't hear it, but I felt like I just said it. It's an annoying brain block. So whatever you do, everyone, be better than me. Always check every little thing, get the recording the first time, and be happy with it. All right. Thanks again, Andrew, and thank you all those to listening. We'll be back again sometime. I hope you have a good one until then, and bye-bye for now.
Thanks, Bryce.
Sure thing. As we wrap things up, I'd like to say thank you again for listening, and to Andrew for joining me. By sharing these stories, we hope to either inspire you onto a new path, shed light on how one may navigate the world of secondary education, or in the very least help show you that whatever directions you take, you're going in. Yeah, I'm still keeping the singing thing. It's just too fun. No life is a straight line, so embrace all the weird and wonderful sidetracks you've taken and probably will take in the future. If and when you decide to take on a new sidetrack, be sure to do your own research, ask around, reflect on what you hope to achieve, and remember your journey will be unique to Andrew's, even if you decide to pursue the same things. In the end, this is a podcast of experiences, opinions, and open conversation, not a source of permanent truths. We'll end the show with a thank you to Kyle Tankersley for writing the song set as the intro and outro set to this show, performed by Cranky Tank and the Fixers, copyright 2019. I I gotta say that every time on every show. It's just part of the credits. He lets me do this for free, so it's great. Thank you for Avalon, Tanky. See you all next time.
When she